All right, you're sitting in a Bible study, and all of a sudden the beer and the alcohol comes out. And everybody's grabbing a tall glass, everybody's grabbing a shot of wine, a whiskey, and the cigars come out, and you're sitting there and you do not drink. But everybody else is, so should I just go ahead and partake? After all, these are Christians. Is it okay? Man, what a question. What a position to find yourself in. Is it okay for Christians to drink alcohol? And should we, as Christians, be drinking alcohol? I hope to answer that question for you in this episode of Drake Talks. All right, guys, welcome back to Drake Talks. I'm so thankful to have you here today, and thank you for tuning in because I really believe this is a very important episode. I don't have all the answers, but I just hope to give you a little bit of background on alcohol, what science says, what the scriptures say, and how we find a balance. But before we do that, just let me talk a little bit about my background. So as I'm coming into this study, I don't want you to think that I'm some guy that has no idea what I'm talking about. I was, raised in a Christian home and I was protected from alcohol. And no, it's nothing like that. I did not live a sheltered life, sheltered from alcohol my whole life. Matter of fact, I probably spent more time in a bar as a kid than some of you have ever been in your lives. My uncle, my dad's brother, owned a bar, and we were in that bar many, many times growing up. There are pictures of me as a kid. I remember when Carrie first saw this picture, she was flabbergasted that her husband and pastor in their bedroom, my brother and I shared a room, and in between our beds, we had a big neon Bud Light sign. I mean, it was a cool neon sign, and it was there. And so that's my upbringing, okay? I went to sleep with a Bud Light neon sign over my head, and I'm sure many of you watching this did not. So just let me clarify, alcohol is nothing new. I've seen many of my family members drunk. I've been at family gatherings and family reunions when everybody was toasted. I've seen things and heard things that alcohol has caused people to do, even in my families, that they would never, ever do when they are sober. Even as kids, I've had my mother sit myself and my brother down and look at us and say, boys, never take the first drink of alcohol. And that was before we knew anything about church or Christianity. So again, don't think that I'm coming from this from a dumb perspective. I've been around this a long time. And coming from then this point of view is different because I'm coming from a Christian take. Should Christians drink alcohol? Social drinking right now is rampant, and I've been in restaurants and I've walked into places where I've seen Christians sitting around with their Bibles open, a tall one in front of them, having a beer and a Bible study. Is that okay? Well, let's talk about alcohol and let's see what does the Bible say. And we must first go to the number one passage everybody goes to, and that's John chapter 2, when Jesus turns the water to wine. And we want to jump on that passage and say, hey, look, Jesus turned water to wine, therefore it's okay to drink. But is it? Is that the point? Okay, is the point of that miracle a justification for Christians and followers of Jesus to drink wine? I'm going to argue it's not. That miracle that Jesus did of turning the water to wine was the first miracle that he performed. Okay, it was, I think, more of a miracle to put his emphasis and stamp of approval, if I can say it that way, on marriage, and also to show that Jesus is set out, okay, not to make a huge display and not to be this huge sensation, but to work miracles in these smaller groups, okay, to show people who he is. And here he's just reaching out and taking something that's small and making it something great. Taking something that's plain like water and making it taste like something that no one has ever tasted before. That's the idea of this miracle in water to wine. It's not a justification for us to drink. Okay, we know Paul says what in Ephesians? Be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be filled with the Spirit. All right, so right there we have a scripture, again, not necessarily about drinking till you just almost get drunk, but not really, but a scripture saying it's okay to drink as long as you don't get drunk. Don't be drunk with wine. So is it okay to social drink? Well, we've got to know and understand scientifically, I think, to answer that question, the true dangers of taking that first drink. When we take that drink of alcohol, Andrew Huberman, when he goes into his study, and I'll put a link to the video here. He's got multiple videos on alcohol. One he does himself, one he does an interview with. And when he gets into it, as Huberman does, he's got to bring up the dopamine. You've heard me talk about that before. But by taking that first drink of alcohol, those dopamine levels in our brains just boom, they go crazy. It's like a drug. It just takes off. The serotonin in our brains take off. And we have this feeling of feeling good. It's like a guy in the church said one time, in our church said, look, if you want to have a genuine Bible study, break out the alcohol and people will really start to loosen up. Well, it's not their true person that's loosening up. Okay, it's the alcohol causing them to do this. It's like Jordan Peterson said, and I love what he says. He's like, drinking just makes people stupid. If I'm in a Bible study, I don't want to be stupid. And I don't need alcohol for me to open up and talk about the things of God. But what they're talking about is, it's this jolt of feeling good. It's this jolt of relaxation. It's this dose of dopamine that I have that yeah, okay, I'm kind of down. I'm kind of discouraged. I've had a long day at work. The kids are driving me crazy. And boom, okay, this happens. Now, certain people get this shot of dopamine and it becomes a drug. And just by one drink and just by tasting this alcohol and getting that shot and that idea through the brain, it keeps pulling us back. And that's what makes alcohol so dangerous. So if I'm sitting at this table and all these guys around me are drinking and they're going to stop before they get drunk, or at least they say they are, and you've never had alcohol before, is it safe for you just to grab it and take the drink? I'm telling you, what Peterson would say and what Huberman would say was, don't do it. And I'm telling you, from my perspective, I'm going to agree with those two and say, don't do it. It's not worth the cost. And what happens then, and Huberman goes on in his video when he talks about alcohol, he talks about that dopamine rush that happens and the serotonin that goes off in our brains. It's like ding, 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 ding. Okay, this is awesome. But as quickly as that goes up, it goes down. Okay, so why do I need to sit around and why do I need to have another drink at night? And why does my first drink need a second drink? Why does my drink need a drink? Because immediately that level starts to go down and I want to feel that way again. I can't go back to where I was. I've got to go up and I've got to feel better. So now I've got to take another drink. And when that drink takes a drink, you are in big trouble. Because now, boom, it starts to drop even faster and I've got to pull it up even quicker. And before you know it, I am out of my mind, I am drunk, and I don't know what is going on. Peterson said he stopped drinking at age 27. He said he just was tired of being stupid. And he was moving forward in his career. He was married. He was looking to have children. And he said, I did not need this alcohol in my life, and I didn't want it there. And so why would I then, as a Christian, want to do anything, okay, that would cause me to be stupid? I mean, when Paul says, be not drunk with wine wherein is excess, but be controlled with the Spirit, he's talking about this idea of what is in control of your life. And if I am allowing then alcohol to control my mood, if I'm allowing alcohol to control what I say or control what I do, then even if it's just a few drinks, I am not being controlled by the Spirit of God. And he goes on and talks about, Peterson goes on in his talk about alcohol, an interview about alcohol. I'll put the link down here. It's only about 5 minutes, definitely worth a watch, talking about some studies that were done and even with monkeys. And out of all these monkeys that drank alcohol, I think 5% of them drank until they passed out. Okay, because they just had the tendency to do it. And they said all of those monkeys that took it went crazy and just kept drinking that alcohol because of the way that it made them feel. Now, again, why would I want to do something like that? And as Jordan Peterson went on talking, he said 50% of the murders that happen in the world today happen and are committed by somebody who is drunk, and it's done to somebody who is drunk. Think about that. 50% of the murders today are happening because of alcohol. Do you know somebody personally who has been in an accident or lost their lives because of a drunk driver? I have. Okay? I know two people, one that nearly lost their lives and one who was killed by a drunk driver, 6th grader. Okay, 12 years old, lost his life because somebody was drinking, ran off the road, and ran over them because of alcohol. Peterson says in one of his videos, if you want to eliminate sexual abuse, if you want to eliminate domestic violence, if you want to eliminate date rape, if you want to eliminate unwanted pregnancies on college campuses, get rid of the alcohol. Man, what a statement. That's coming from Jordan Peterson, who I don't believe is really a Christian. Okay, but he has seen the effects of alcohol on college campuses where he's at all the time, and he's telling young men and young women, don't drink alcohol. Man, what a statement. Okay, why are we then trying to, as Christians, justify it? Why are we trying to take the Bible and make it say something about alcohol that it doesn't in order to justify my social drinking when I don't need it? Coffee is fine. Huberman, going on talking about the brain in his study, he said that a study was done in Great Britain. It was 30,000 people. Who drank mild amounts of alcohol, like a glass a day. So no more than 7 glasses of alcohol a week. So 5 to 7 glasses a week. So this is somebody who eats their meal, and has a glass of wine after their meal. So this study was done with 30,000 of them. And in that study that was done in Great Britain, and I'll put the link again, that video is there, that he talks about it. He says that in that, the gray matter and the white matter around the brain, in this cortex that we have around our brain started to diminish, in people who were drinking alcohol every day, just 1 glass a day, mildly drinking, not getting drunk, just taking on. So our neocortex, it talks about our memory, our thoughts, that helps us to make decisions, was deteriorating by 1 glass of alcohol a day. And here's the deal. I'm 45 years old, and I hope just to be at the tip of the iceberg with my knowledge, my thinking capacities, and the impact that I can make on others. Why in the world would I want to start to deteriorate my brain? I don't have enough brain cells as it is. Why would I want to get rid of any more? I have no desire to do that. So why would I take alcohol that would cause me to lose something that God has given to me? I hope this makes sense. So I don't need to justify drinking through the scriptures. Why would I want to when science tells me it's stupid? When science shows me the effects that it could have on me. Let me finish with a story, and you can draw your own conclusions. But a young man contacted me, 19 years old, a student at WVU, and he said, I'm in real trouble when it comes to alcohol. Can you help me? And so we got together. I said, how did this all start? You didn't drink in high school. He said, no, but my youth pastor is a social drinker, and he was inviting me to go and have drinks with him. And he said, my youth pastor told me, look, I struggle with getting drunk and I don't do very good at this, so maybe you can help me. Well, they both end up getting drunk. And then he ends up a fake ID, ends up in clubs, and now his life is a wreck. And we sit down and go through things, and he totally changes his life around. And he sent me a text 5 years later and says, if it wasn't for your help, I don't know where I would be. A few drinks, a few social drinks, and his life was almost nearly destroyed. Don't mess around with alcohol. It's not worth it. Coming from Spicer, Huberman, and Peterson, just stay away.